start by doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
He was.
Heard you were riding elephants.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, you get ratted out by the neighbors.
Oh, yeah. They see it on Facebook or? Oh, were they? Oh, okay.
Here we are. Board, attached are the minutes of the executive session and regular session meetings held on November 20th, 2025.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the, executive session and regular session minutes of November 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
No.
All right, you may vote.
Can't get used to it. It's so boring.
Who's control?
Thank you, board, and we pass 6-0. Well, 6 with an abstention. Mr. Porras was not in attendance. Next on the agenda item is financial reports, and we have none. Are there any comments on the agenda items from the audience? That would be none.
Moving right along.
And personnel report. Would that be you, Dr. Buffington?
Yes, board, in your packet, you have a copy of the personnel report for December the 4th, and you also have an addendum. Board action is requested.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the personnel reports as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board, is there any discussion? There's your vote. Thank you, board, and that's a 7-0 vote. Next on the agenda item is a consideration for a trademark license agreement with KLK Holdings, DBA Level 10. Dr. Buffington?
Well, this would be a license agreement to use Johan at DBA level 10 for a royalty fee of 10% payable quarterly. The term of the agreement is 2 years, effective November 6th through November 5th of 2027. And at this time, they are planning on selling at Strax. Board action is requested.
I'd like to make a motion that the board authorize the superintendent to sign the trademark license agreement with KLK Holdings, doing business as level 10 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Is
Just
someone
one
we have?
point of interest, this was our very first, level 10 was our very first trademark license agreement.
So they have done it
Mr.
before.
Longer did the agreement with them at that time, I think in 2012.
Oh, wow.
And that would be correct. And Pat Schoon is the keeper of the trademark.
Thank you, Mrs.
after
Schoon.
that.
I was going to ask some questions. The next question I had is, are they only going to be at Strax, or have they been elsewhere, or are they currently elsewhere?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Their sales rep contacted us so that they could sell product there.
Gotcha.
And so then it went backwards. It's not the same gentleman's name, and the address is not the same as the last time, so I know.
Okay. Board, is there any other discussion?
Well, at least the word is out that they have to get permission, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because they started selling other gear there already for other districts and.
yeah.
All right. There we go. 7-0 is the vote on that. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is an overnight study trip for the We the People state competition for the Hobart Middle School students.
Yes, let's look at those middle school students. So We the People, they're sponsored in Hairston. They will compete at their respective state competitions in Indianapolis. The middle school group placed first. As we know, at the regional competition, there are 20 students participating, and the group will travel by school bus leaving Hobart on December 8th, returning on December 9th. In addition to Mrs. Hairston, Assistant Principal Courtney Gill will be attending, and our staff member, Stephanie Osika from Veterans, will be chaperoning, as well as 7 other parents. The Indiana Bar Foundation has awarded Mrs. Hairston an $800 grant to assist in covering the group's overnight expenses, and she applied for a grant from the School City of Hobart Education Foundation obviously will pay for the buses, and board action is requested for this fantastic overnight trip that we hope that they bring back some more honors.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the overnight study trip for middle school students to participate in the We the People state competition in Indianapolis.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, board?
Good luck to them, and
Yep.
so proud of the work they've done so far.
Mrs. Hairston has taken quite a few classes down there in her tenure doing this already. All right, and that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. The recommendation to accept the Indiana Department of Education High Quality Early Learning Curriculum Grant. Dr. Buffington?
This is a really outstanding award that we have been honored to receive. It's a competitive grant that we filled out serving children from birth to age 5, and it's designed to help with research-based curriculum aligned to Indiana's early learning standards. The funding was awarded based on the number of eligible preschool and early childhood classrooms within the district. The grant will support curriculum purchase for the Brickey Kids Preschool at both the Early Learning Center and Hobart High School, as well as Bricky's from the Start birth to 5. The grant funds will be used to purchase approved instructional materials from the state's vetted list of high-quality curriculum vendors, ensure to align developmentally appropriate resources for infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. It directly supports our early learning vision by strengthening our curriculum alignment. It will increase instructional quality and support our youngest Brickies and their families. I should mention that the Early Learning Center, we have been involved in a research-based cohort with the Indiana Department of Ed. We've been meeting probably twice a month with a group from the Early Learning Center, which helped make us eligible for this as well. The whole concept would be to make sure that we are transitioning kids ready for kindergarten. And so this is a great opportunity and a lot of money. And I'm very proud of the work that we've been doing there. And of course, the team led by Sarah Gutierrez, myself, their grade level contact, Bailey, and Haley Metz. Why is Bailey's last name escaping me? Myers, thank you. She got married and it just like throws me off. They have done amazing work, as has Deanne Jeanette. So I'd ask that the board accept this grant, and we'll continue to work hard to get things aligned.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the IDOE High Quality Early Learning Curriculum Grant as presented.
Second.
People should not get married when they start, after they start. I have the most difficult time remembering their last names after they get married.
We have a motion and a second, board. Is there any discussion?
Is this a grant that we had last year as well? Okay, is it similar value, similar amount, or?
No, this is a lot of money.
Oh, good.
It's a lot
That's
more
good.
money.
It's good to see it.
Well, we got one. I wouldn't say that it's called the same thing. We became eligible for this one because we're participating in this interactive group from the state, and they're trying to learn from us. Sarah Gutierrez and I served on an advisory board for transitioning to kindergarten, and we did a lot with daycare and preschools, and so they reached out to us. I think that's what helped make us eligible for this as well, because we're actually teaching them a lot of things. So it's good.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys on that side for the efforts you put into getting these grants and keeping that program running, as I know that other communities in the area are shutting them down to save money. I'm glad to see this one up and running. So.
Well, I will say it is difficult, and I understand our neighbors for whatever reason, but we've never spent any of our own money on Ricky's from the start. It's always been self-supporting. So whether it be Springfest, raffle, HEF gives $5,000 every year. We have done some parent participation from title, whatever amount that we could be given. But much of it has been through grants, and I give Deanne Jeanette a lot of credit for that. well as the rest of the team over there. It's a struggle. Our services are, and they had to change. I mean, after COVID, things just changed drastically for everybody. But we have a very good program there. I think the fact that we even have services where we communicate with the preschools, trying to get them to be on the same page in terms of what our curriculum expectations and social emotional standards would be. One of the things that we did, and we actually completed it, I don't know what, today's Thursday, I met with them Tuesday or Wednesday, it was Wednesday, yesterday. We actually met in our cohort over Zoom with the state, and we have prepared calendars by month of transitional things we're doing with preschools for kindergarten. And so it's pretty comprehensive, and that's thanks to the team that I'm working with. You will see some different things, but a lot of things that we've already have in place because we've been doing it for a long time. It's very cool.
Any other comments, board? All right, and we have a vote of 7-0. Thank you. We have another recommendation to accept the Indiana Department of Education High Ability Program grant. Dr. Buffington?
Board, in your packet, you have a copy of the award notification for the High Ability Grant. That was filled out by Dr. Krieg, our Director of Secondary Education. And this grant is for $46,915. Last year was $46,410, so went up just a tad. We use this grant to pay for our math coach at the elementary level. It doesn't pay for all of her salary, but it pays for a good portion of it. And based off of the results that I'm seeing at the elementary, our math scores have gone up. Now, I can't say the same about English because I'm not quite sure what's going on with the test with English. The statewide average on checkpoint 1 was like 35%. I mean, you have to ask yourself what is going on with this testing program. I will say the math, their math state average is about 40%. The elementary on checkpoint 1, most of them were in the 60s. So I was really very happy with that. Kristen Osika is our math coach at that level. She does pull out and she pushes in. And so she's helping coach, and she also addresses all of the high ability needs for math at the elementary. And so with that being said, I'd ask that the board accept that grant award as well.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the Indiana Department of Education High Ability Program grant as presented and authorize the superintendent to execute any necessary documents for the grant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, board?
You know, again, just thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good work.
Dr. Krieg.
Thank you, board. That passes 7-0. Our next item on the agenda is a consideration for a resolution ratifying acceptance. And that looks like that would be Mr. Longer.
Correct.
Yes, board, as you know, we have had an offer on the Union Street property that's been accepted. And as we approach a possible closing on that, the title company is going to want proof that the board has authorized the sale, authorized the execution of the deed by the officers, and authorized the superintendent or myself to execute any documents necessary at closing. So the resolution before you is designed to provide that proof in one document so we can give it to the title company and satisfy those requirements.
Okay. Mr. Porras, if you would read the title of the resolution, please.
Yes, we have a School City of Hobart Board of School Trustees Resolution number 2025-38. A resolution ratifying acceptance of the offer to purchase real estate and authorizing execution of closing documents.
Thank you. Board, your pleasure.
I recommend the board adopt resolution number 2025-38 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion, board?
Thank you for all the
Mr.
work.
Longer, thank you for
Thank
your
you
hard
for all the
work.
work. I know it's a lot.
Well,
Thank you.
I would mention that we don't have a closing date scheduled, but because the offer set a time frame to be able to close, I want to be able to provide the proof that we're ready to go,
Okay,
and so that doesn't become an issue.
all right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for being ahead of the game, and I'm happy that we sold fairly quickly.
Mhm.
Mr. Porras, if you would do a roll call vote, please?
Yes, David Cosby,
Aye.
Don Rogers,
Aye.
Brad Keane,
Aye.
Stuart Schultz,
Aye.
Frank Porras votes aye, Sandy Hillen,
Aye.
and Ricky Guthrie.
Aye. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. Okay, updates, announcements, and reports. Dr. Buffington.
All right, board, we do have a change in January meeting
January
dates. There
16th.
are numerous Thursdays in January, one of which is on New Year's Day. So, we are going to change our board meetings and adjust them to January 8th and January 22nd, which is kind of normal for us around
Mhm.
those dates. So, we want to just make everyone aware of that. Move on to the next
And
item.
the next one would be our school information.
In your packet, you have copies of weekly agendas that we do with our staff, and you have the Bricky Cafe monthly, as well as the Brick Center newsletter.
And upcoming activities and events.
All right, here we go. Well, we had an amazing career fair. I see Grace shaking her head. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Adams. It was very well attended. I want to thank all the local colleges and businesses and people that supported the career fair, that were hands-on. Quite a few businesses taking time out of their day to come and treat kids about their career field. And I will just say how professional our kids dressed for this event. I was very impressed by that, and it was just extremely well received. So I want to thank the people that came and supported it, and make sure that I thank our guidance counseling department, especially Mrs. Adams, and Mr. Osika, the principal, one of the co-principals, a lot of hard work on that end as well. You also have the Hobart Community Band Winter Concert. That is at 3 o'clock. Tickets are $5 on December the 7th. December 11th, you have the huge Christmas concert that we put on at the high school here, where we combined our band and orchestras. It's on the gym floor here at the high school. There's hardly anywhere to sit. So if you're coming, you better get here early, or you are going to be at the top of the nosebleed section. I mean, we do have to open up everything. There's so many people that come to this. It's very well attended, and it's really a beautiful performance, so I encourage all to come out.
It's a cool show with all the bands all together. I mean, they fill up that whole,
The whole
Court.
floor.
yeah, it's really
It's
cool.
pretty spectacular. December 16th, this is our choir concert for senior citizens. They will have their special Christmas dinner that the Legacy Foundation supports the dinner. We support the concert, obviously. Dinner's at 5 and the concert is at 6. Grace, are we going to have a beautiful light show?
Yes, we will.
Okay, just checking with you. And then, on December 17th, we have the public choir Christmas concert at 6 p.m. December 19th is a professional development records day, no school for students. And then, of course, December 22nd through January 2nd, winter break. And people will be in hibernation and celebrating Christmas and the holiday season.
All right. And we are now up to comments. Dr. Buffington?
Well, I do want to give a shout out to our maintenance crew that has had to do tons of snow removal, salt, and just always on guard, up and at 'em, 3:30, 4 in the morning, and we're just making good calls to keep everybody safe. And it's been a long winter already for them. And so we're not even close to being done. So we can just hope that January and February will be mild. I have no idea. They say it's not going to be, so we'll have to see. but they've done a really nice job. And Ryan Snedeker, this is his first winter. He's getting baptized by fire. He had no idea when I told him he will be my best friend that he was truly going to be my best friend at all hours. So, but he's doing a great job, as are the maintenance crew. And so I just want to make sure that I give them a proper word of thanks. As always, I want to make sure that I thank Bill Longer. You know, very advantageous to us as we're going through the sale of this property. And Pat Schoon. I had an emergency on Tuesday. I had to help one of our staff members, and we had a last-minute item that we were trying to get on the agenda, and the two of them, through text messaging and emailing, we got it on the board agenda, and I'm really grateful to them because we needed to get that item on there. And as far as that goes, Chris King, always a great sidekick for me. And so with that being said, we have one more meeting in December, so I'll hold off on any other holiday wishes, but I do hope that you partake in some of our school's Christmas programming. So tonight, there's lots of nutcrackers going on at Liberty and at Veterans. I think Joanne Martin's is tonight too. So, yeah, all 3 elementary schools have nutcracker going on tonight. And then, of course, those concerts that are coming up, it will definitely put you in the Christmas spirit.
Thank you, Mr. King.
I think I'm good tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Longer.
I'm good also, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cospaid.
Again, just a big thank you to everybody that helped out with the sale of the property. I know there's a lot of work involved in that, so thank you for everybody's help. And I know that the maintenance staff has been busy. They've had a couple big snowstorms early compared to what we've had the last few years. So kudos to them to make sure that they get everything taken care of and keep our kids safe. So other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the snow removal team because they keep the parking lot at the food pantry salted and cleared. And I appreciate that because I work there and it would be difficult to deliver food when they have all the other lots to take care of. I mean, it's really greatly appreciated. And I think a high 100 should go to Coach Black today because he is, well, not today, all this week, he's been trying to get ready for that football game. And in the 5 years we've had it, or 4 years we've had it, they've never had snow.
Yeah.
And they were.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. That's part of the snow removal team, as you're suggesting. It's not just been our lots. We're trying to get the stadium ready for the bowl game on Saturday. It's been a lot on Mike Black, Ryan Snedeker, and the whole snow removal team. So once they're done with our lots, they're out at the football stadium. And you're right. Thank you for that, Coach.
It's amazing because Mike Black, the perfectionist, I said, Mike, we'll have maybe 700 people at this event. Couldn't we just clear one side and pretend like it was a soccer game? You know, and have all three, why do we, no. So, Division I, Division III. So, we were not only clearing the home side, we were clearing at least 3 sections of the home side. We were also clearing the visitor side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a challenge because once you scrape the snow off, then you're walking on slippery aluminum.
Yep.
And I think Mike Black minimum shoveled 400 shovels full of snow over the railing today. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I was out there cheering for him.
He would chalk that up to his workout for the day.
Mm-hmm.
He probably won't be worth anything tomorrow, so don't anybody ask him for anything.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Yeah, Mike Black, Mr. Black does definitely deserve all the kudos. We were here at the basketball game last night, and he was here again for that, so he's always around. I mean, he's definitely committed. A funny story about the snow removal. We were driving by, going to another event the last night that it snowed, and the kids were saying, "Do you think we'll have school tomorrow?" And my wife says, "Have you seen the parking lots? They're perfectly clean. We're having school." So, that is the key to whether or not we will have school. So,
Yeah, That's perceptive. I will say the very first snowstorm, the second wave that hit us, it really wasn't us. It was going to depend on the city. And so, I had to talk to the mayor, and I'm like, I'm really wondering what's going to happen here because it wasn't looking good. And, they have a lot more to cover, obviously, than we do. And he said, can I call you back in 2 hours? And I'm like, sure. And they were really worried that our football team wouldn't get to practice if I called school off, which I would let them practice if it were safe to get here, right? But they had a different way that they could just huddle up and Zoom, and that was fine the first day. I wouldn't have wanted them to miss the second day either, but how about that? The city workers they thought that they would miss a football practice, so they were like, we're getting it cleaned up. So hats off to them too, because they've been working really hard too.
Yeah, but it's much appreciated too, because from parents' perspective, they have jobs, they kind of rely on their schedule, and for us to do that work and keep those lots clean and keep the school open as much as possible so that their schedules can maintain the same, it's more than just people doing their job, it's people helping their community too. So I do appreciate them, if you'll pass that on from us.
I sure will.
As a board, that we appreciate
Sure will.
them.
I did send out little treat bags to them, but that was before we got a lot more, so I may have to do a second one.
And then the last thing I want to say is thank you on that side to everyone who does these grants. They're a lot of work. It's a lot of different things. There's a lot to learn when you're going through applying for these grants and the different systems that they have to go through and the process and checking the boxes properly, because you don't want to get denied for one small box that's not checked. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of extra work, and it's really not something that I believe is required of anyone, right? It's just something that we try to do because we should.
Well, the federal grants, obviously the Title I grant is so important to us for staffing and intervention. The other title grants, we've always tried to use them for extra personnel to address whatever we could with those dollars. So the federal funds we've done ever since I've been in the school district, because I've been doing them forever. These other little grants that we do with Tammy May, like the Early Learning Center and Ricky's from the Start, no, those are grants that we go after. And so you're right, we purposely go after those grants to bring that money in. And they are a lot of hard work. And I think the thing that's really important about that, determining if you're eligible, number one, and then number two, making sure that you're highly competitive, right? So you have to have ideas that are visionary in order to be the competitive one. And so I am very proud of people that are a part of our grants and just do a great job of bringing that money in, because it saves the district, and it also allows us to have programming that others don't have, right?
That's all I was saying. That's the last thing I'll say, is just thank you to them.
Sure
Thank
will.
you to everyone who puts that hard work in.
Sure will.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Schultz?
I'm good.
Thank you. Grace?
I just want to say I'm excited for all of the Christmas events that are coming up with the arts and stuff with the band. I've been to that concert before. It's a very cool experience. And then also with the 2 choir concerts. I think this year Mr. Wolf is looking to maybe have the middle school also be with us for that. They usually have their own.
Yeah.
So having it together will be a cool experience, and hopefully the audience will enjoy it to get more people singing up there. Another new thing that is going to be happening at the high school for Christmas activities, well, not really Christmas, but like winter, we are doing like a winter homecoming. Not with a dance, but we're going to have like the whole like week of activities like we do for regular homecoming, but it'll just be in the winter, and I believe it's going to be around like basketball season, and so I assume it's going to lead up to a basketball game. But Johann's Army is being the head of that, and then the student council is kind of helping with that. So some exciting things happening on the student side.
And I am glad that you brought that up about the dance. So we should just kind of talk about that a little bit. I've had plenty of people ask me about why we don't have a dance.
Mm-hmm.
We went back and looked at the records and the ticket sales, and they're dismal. And so then I'm like, well, what if we just have it for free? We could have it for free, but someone would have to sponsor a DJ,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But here's, when you talk to some some of the kids, they have to turn around and buy something for prom. And so it's not only just the tickets, then they're buying another outfit, and then they're turning around and having to get ready for prom. The last set of tickets that we sold were so bad that we ended up in the hole, and another class had to bail them out. And so, those are sponsored by each grade level. And so I know you've asked me, a lot of people asked me, and I did the homework on it. And so I'm going to kind of put that to rest because there's not enough interest and it's too costly. So we are welcoming the activities that you are going to provide because that maybe will make everybody forget about the dance, right?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Grace. It's interesting. They just like bypass everybody here and say, can't you tell them to let us have a dance? And I would love to do that, but I have to be able to qualify and quantify it, and I can't do it. I mean, if you're going to lose money on something like that, I can't say, like, go ahead and do that. That's not right. So.
You good? Thank you. Mr. Porras?
Okay. Okay, so first of all, I'd just like to thank everybody for their kind words and their words of support during the passing of my dad a couple weeks ago. Ms. Buffington somehow got through all that traffic and made it all the way to Chicago. It was terrible that day. But that meant a lot, so thank you very much. And with the Christmas approaching, I'd just like to hope everybody finishes off the year on a good note.
Thank you. Mrs. Helen?
I just once again want to wish our We the People group, I don't want to say good luck because it's not luck. I hope they perform at their personal best and bring home some accolades because I know they will as they travel to state competition. And then I'm just looking forward to the concerts coming up. I'm going to attend some of those. That's all for me.
I would like to start by saying thank you to those on our left for just continuing the hard work that they do on the daily with grants, with wearing multiple hats and doing different things at all the same time. They're fantastic at it, and we appreciate it. I'd also like to give condolences to some recent people passing and their families, sending condolences. Mr. Bigler's family, Mr. Hevel's family, and the Jizwicki family as well. Just some big losses there for the school city, and I'd just like to express our condolences as a board. Frank, to you as well. And just to the kids, we're 10 days. Hold strong, 10 days. And you're halfway done. I told you it would go by fast.
Yes, it has gone by fast.
And that is all that I have for this evening. And that's going.
Could we just say a few words about the three that you did say in passing?
Absolutely.
Just for historical purposes, John Hevel was one of the co-chairs of the feasibility study when we were studying this piece of property and all of our buildings. And a very unpopular decision made by that feasibility study, Pat Schoon will remember this as well as Bill Longer, that they came back with a recommendation to build a high school when we couldn't afford to build a high school. We could afford to build a middle school. And obviously the board took their recommendation. We waited until we could afford to build a high school. One of the wise things that they did, we spent months. I was their administrator that was on that project with them, and we had toured every building, and it was a bold decision to come back and say, like, we know you can't afford it, but you better just wait. And one of the reasons that they made that decision is they wanted us to be competitive with our neighbors. Crown Point had a new high school, Portage had just built onto their high school, and Lake Central was getting ready to do some serious renovation. So I have to commend the leadership there because it was tough sitting out in that audience, and you could build a middle school, and you come back and say, no, you wait till you can build a high school. And look what we have. So for those of you who did not know that, I bring that historical perspective because I worked with Mr. Hevel for probably a good year touring all of our buildings, and just a wonderful individual. He and his wife both were just amazing. Then on top of it, you know, when you want to talk about Dave Bigler serving on the board here, Little League, Maria Reinisch Center, I mean, he just provides a lot of community service, and he just always wanted to give back. So we commend him for his service as well. And Becky Jaswicki, many people do not realize that she was a city councilwoman. Now, she worked in the school district, and she was an incredible media specialist, but she was very devoted to Hobart, and, you know, took her own position as a politician to bring about some change that she thought was necessary. And so these are giants in this community, and we just have to recognize that we need more people like them, right? So that's what we hope to instill in our students and the other people that are around, and that other people pick up the torch. So we thank them, and God rest their souls. So thanks again for bringing that up.
You're welcome. And Mr. Hevel also did a lot of things with the city, I think, on different commissions. I think
He
he was
did.
on the park commission and some park board and some other things too, so. Yeah. And with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:36.